Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to try to keep this video nice and short because it seems like a lot of people are working really hard on lesson 2 and struggling with the whole idea of looking for things like fake news and alternative facts and wikiality. And I'm going to get to that in a little bit and talk a bit about that and maybe answer a few questions or alleviate a little bit of stress about that. I want to talk a little bit about unit marks. So the first unit mark is, it's not done and complete, I guess, for anybody who still owes assignments from Unit 1. I do grade late work up to a point. At a certain point, I no longer grade it because it's just, it's an inconvenience pretty much. And I mean, how long should it take to do a little assignment, right? But for the time being, I'm willing to take your late work. So, but your mark has been published to you. Hopefully you've gotten the link. If you haven't, please email me and I'll try to, I'll resend it to you, or I'll try to figure out what went wrong. But you have a link that takes you to a web page that's got your page in my mark book, and you can see what your mark is. If your entire Unit 1 is over, I've taken the liberty of matching up your grade point average to a pegged mark. If not, you see what your current grade point average is, and you can see what your peg mark is on the scale. But just be aware that that's subject to change if you get the outstanding assignments in. So as far as marks go, I'm pretty happy with how students are doing. I mean, some of you are definitely doing better than others. The highest mark in the class right now is in the 90s, and the lowest mark is substantially less than that, but mostly it's a matter of getting caught up, I think, and getting the work in. Attendance. I wanted to make a note about attendance. Some of you were shocked when I emailed home about attendance because your response is you've been checking in, you've been online, but just to be aware, and this should have been communicated to you, I think it was, by the school board, but if it wasn't, attendance is calculated not based on just logging into the system. You have to actually do something. So if you log in every single day, but you don't do any of the Dropbox assignments, you are marked as absent for the week. So just to be aware of that. It's not a matter of just being online, it's a matter of getting work done. And I mean, fair enough, you could log in every single day, never do an assignment, and you're not going to pass the course even though your attendance is perfect. So just to be aware, that's how I grade, how I keep track of attendance, and it's not my policy, it's the school board's policy. I just follow it. Lesson frequency. So this morning somebody emailed me and asked if I could get the lessons up earlier, and I'll do my best, honestly. I'll try to do my best. The frequency for lessons in this unit though is 2 per week is what it's supposed to average out to. So the reason why I loaded 3 this week was just to sort of get ahead a little bit for anybody who likes to finish up early, and anybody who likes to do homework on the weekend, because grade 12s love their homework. That's why there's 3 lessons up this week, but there's 8 lessons in this unit, so the frequency will be completing 2 lessons per week. Will keep you on track. Published versus unpublished things. So here's a glitch with Desire to Learn, D2L. You can use the advanced arrows to go from one thing to the next, right? You don't have to go to the content menu and surf down and click on links. You just press the arrow and it takes you to the next thing. One problem with that is it will actually take you to things that are not yet published. So every once in a while, and it's actually not every once in a while, it's more often than not, I take a look at what's on the course, which is given to me as e-learning teacher. It's not my work, it's a course that's given to me, and I have the freedom to make adjustments and changes. I take a look at it and I say, you know what, this assignment isn't going to work for me. So here's what your assignment was for Unit 3 when somebody checked in this morning and they emailed me about it, and they're like, what do you mean by making game show questions? So the assignment was this. You were supposed to read Theaetetus, which you're still going to read, except the document that they had linked to had this massive intro to it. It was like a 137-page document. You were supposed to read it, and then you were supposed to create Who Wants to Be a Millionaire style game show questions based on it. And you had to do some research to find out how to make game show questions. So I think that that assignment would have probably taken about a month to do, right? So I made a change to it, and the new assignment is up and it's published. So, but in the meantime, I guess like, and somebody actually did this before in the first unit. They jumped into an assignment that I was in the process of changing, and they went ahead and they did the original assignment. And I think it was like a cartoon or something, and they weren't supposed to because I hadn't published it. So my message is this: can you please stick to whatever is published? When you go to the content menu for Unit 2, you'll see what's there. Can you just stick to whatever's there? And if an assignment hasn't been published yet, don't pursue it. If a lesson hasn't been published yet, don't pursue it. Because I go through those and I double check that links work. Double check the content. I cut some stuff away that I think is unnecessary. I add videos in that I think are going to help, and text as well. So just stick to whatever is actually there, please, and thank you. So that takes me through all the housekeeping, the marks, the attendance, and the lesson work. And so where are you now in the course? You should hopefully be done lesson 1 and have written, this is funny, one of you said that in the note when they handed it in, they're like, just so you know, this is the weirdest thing that I have ever written, with a smiley face, which, yeah, it probably is kind of weird, and I look forward to grading those. I think I have 16 of them in. I like to have 20 of something in before I grade, because I like to grade in big bursts. So I'll be getting to those very soon, and I'm interested in seeing if you can lead me to like get you to not do an assignment. I'd like to see if you could lead Ronald McDonald away from selling Happy Meals to kids. So that should be done, and you should be on to this troublesome lesson about problem information. So the early feedback that I got from students was, this is really hard because I can't find anything, because every time I look on Wikipedia, everything there is fine. I don't see any problems with it. But here's what you have to understand. Problem information, like the best examples of it, like it's so invisible, you don't even notice it. And that's the point of the whole assignment, is that a good writer or a good speaker can be really good at embedding things that are not true into factual information. And this is what the problem with something like Wikipedia is that we're not exactly sure who the contributors are, and we're not exactly sure what their biases are. We're not sure necessarily how much of what we're reading, if we're reading quickly and not critically, how much of what we're reading is true. So here's an example. I replied to a couple of people with the, everybody's on to Trump. I don't know why. Everybody's on to him, it seems. My advice was, look for things that are controversial, because you tend to find the most problem information surrounding a controversial topic. So if you went on to Wikipedia and you looked up the, I don't know, you're looking up like the wave mechanical model of the atom, you're probably not going to find much like truthiness there. But if you look up like Donald Trump, or if you look up a controversial topic like abortion, or legalization of drugs, or whatever, like your stock things that you argue when you're in grade 10 English class, you'll probably find in those articles, if you look carefully, information that's presented as fact, which is not actually fact. So when I looked up Donald Trump on Wikipedia, one of the things in the introduction that stuck out to me was he made many false claims during his campaign, something along that lines, which was it was unsubstantiated. So there's no evidence of it. There was no citation taking you to any source of any kind. It was just somebody had added that to the article, and that now becomes truth, right? And the reason why it becomes truth is because somebody who we don't know adds it in there, and then people just accept that as being true when it is opinion. It is not fact until it's proven. So look for things that are controversial on Wikipedia, and that would be, I think, a really good starting point if you're having trouble finding things. And of course, a lot of you have been jumping into the news. News is biased. And I made a post with Denzel Washington, of all people, like an actor. Not that there's anything wrong with Denzel, but like just an actor like playing the role of philosopher was kind of cool. Saying that if you don't watch the news, you're uninformed, and if you watch it, you're misinformed. What he's getting at is all news is biased, and you have to really sift through and take a good, careful look at the information you're getting, because it may be presented to you as being true, but that doesn't mean that it is true. All right, so that's where I think most of you are right now, and lesson 3 has been posted, but it's kind of like next week's lesson. For those of you who are working ahead and you want to get ahead, because you know that's a good idea, the faster you get through this unit, the faster it's done, then by all means go right into lesson 3, and the assignment is to read Theaetetus, but instead of creating like a crazy game show set of questions, I'm just going to get you to respond to some things that are interesting out of it. So, as always, if you're having any trouble or need any help, please, by all means, email me. And it looks like I finished 4 minutes earlier than I usually did, so I kind of held up to my promise at the beginning of this. Have a good weekend, everybody.